Good afternoon.
Good
Welcome back to another afternoon edition of the Monday Morning Grit with Warren and James.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
We're back.
We are.
Fresh-faced and ready-faced.
Ready-faced. Yeah.
Or ruddy-faced? I'm not sure what that
Is
actually
there a
means.
ready face?
If you're R-U-D-D-Y faced.
R-U-D-D-Y. Ruddy face.
I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I think it's pink.
It sounds like a sailing term.
Perhaps. I think it's referring to a pig, perhaps.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have no idea what it means, so I could be purely speculative here.
Right.
I just noticed you got a little bit of sun there on your cheeks.
I did. I was at the air show. There's not a lot of trees out on airfields.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, so
for shelter.
It's quite lacking in shade. Actually, so I went to the JBLM Airshow. It's the first time they've had it in 7 years.
Oh, really?
Yep. So for a variety of reasons, they just didn't have it. It's usually biennial. So every other year. So I went there, and it's a free show, by the way, at JBLM, and they put it on just as like a show of appreciation for putting up with having a military base in the metro area.
I heard it was like sold out for being a free show.
Well, so it was like, I guess for a free show, it would be like at capacity, right?
Okay.
There were a ton of people there. If you told me there were 100,000 people there, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
There were so many people there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The video you took looked like you were pretty close to the front row.
Yeah.
Front row of 100,000 people?
So, I mean, the thing is, like, it's on, this massive stretch of tarmac. So you have, like, the front row that's, like, along where the runways are to be closest to the show. But a lot of people are back, like, looking at the vendors. And, like, they had a bunch of static displays. So they had, like, different aircraft parked around. And you could go look at them and stuff.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah.
Also, you don't need to be, right up to the gate to see an airplane fly overhead.
No, you can be pretty much anywhere in the air show. I mean, you can be near the base and pretty much watch the air show. That's the great thing about air shows, right? But, great show. A lot of, I guess what you would call warbirds. So, like, older, like, World War II era planes, which is surprising that there's, like, at least enough of them in, like, good enough condition to fly at an air show, like do stunts and stuff with. They had a Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress, which is I
heard of a Flying Fortress.
Yeah, so it was like
big.
It was huge. It was a 4-engine bomber during World War II, and I didn't, I never thought I'd ever see one before.
They're very, very rare.
In flying condition, yes.
Because why would you keep it up?
Yeah, it's expensive to keep up. I think, like, some cargo companies used them in, like, the 50s and 60s, but after that, it was like, who wants a propeller freighter anyways?
Yeah, 8 or 4 engines is a lot. It's excessive.
Yeah, especially when they were built back in the 30s.
Yeah, although it is surprising to me how long aircraft stay in use.
Yeah, like I think the B-52, if you're familiar with it, first flew in like the 50s, and I think it's going to be in service until 2050, so it's going to have like 100-year service life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like feeling cutting edge for a long period of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, excellent air show. They had some really cool stuff there. The Thunderbirds. Are you familiar with the Thunderbirds?
Yeah. I
think
so. They're like cousins of the Blue Angels.
They're rivals. So like the Blue Angels, for our viewers who might not be familiar,
because they come around like on the 1st or the beginning of August.
For Seafair. Yep. So the Blue Angels are the Navy's flight demonstration team.
That's the blue.
Yep. And then the Thunderbirds are the Air Force's flight demonstration team.
So you got to think that they're better.
Honestly, I think I like the Blue Angels better.
Just because they're over the water? It's a little cooler.
Well, I think I like their planes more. They fly F-18 Hornets, and the Thunderbirds fly the F-16 Fighting Falcon. But I also just think I like the blue planes of the Blue Angels. Blue is
true. It does look nice.
Great color. And I just think there's more, I don't know, panache maybe with the Blue Angels.
They got a little bit more of a routine down.
Like when I see the Thunderbirds, I have a good time. It's a great show. But I feel like when I go and tell people later, like people are typically more impressed, or they're like, I think the Blue Angels have more renown.
Yeah, it's a better name.
I think so. I really like it.
Well, then what's the difference between an F-16 and an F-18?
So an F-18 it's 2 engines, and it can be launched from aircraft carriers and land on aircraft carriers. F-16 is a 1-engine interceptor that the Air Force uses, so it takes off from just regular old air bases and stuff like that. But I think I like the F-18 just more based on looks, and it's got 2 engines.
Yeah,
I think 2 engines is more fun than 1 engine.
Can they go a lot faster?
Actually, I think the F-16 can go a lot faster because its engine it's got one big engine, and it's a pretty small plane. Like the plane itself is pretty small because it's an interceptor. At least I think that was how it was originally conceived. So like shorter range and quick to go like. Do
you think they got close to breaking the sound barrier?
So yes, they got close, but I guess some law prohibits air shows from breaking the sound barrier now. So
I think it's relatively recent that they changed.
Yeah,
in the last 20 years.
Yeah, because I think I remember my dad talking about that happening at like the Oceana Naval Air Station air show that's over in Virginia, of like the Blue Angels and stuff breaking the sound barrier, making a sonic boom.
Yeah, well, apparently it like breaks glass or whatever when it's in the wrong areas.
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, my favorite thing about like very powerful aircraft like the F-16 or the F-18 when they're just going like full throttle pretty much, like pulling off these crazy maneuvers, is you don't just hear and see it, you feel it. Yeah, you can feel them. And
you can feel the air moving around you.
Yeah, it was really cool. They had this.
How close did they get when they were flying to you? You think?
I would say no more than 200 feet off the ground at some points.
Oh, okay, that's pretty close.
That is pretty close. But yeah, I think. I don't know. There's just something about feeling like just the power of an engine like that. I mean, it's incredible. They do this one thing. I don't know if this has ever happened to you at an air show where like you're watching maybe like 4 or 5 of the 6 jet squadron are pulling off some maneuver, and you're busy watching that, and then one just screams overhead like going as fast as it's allowed to go. Ooh. just to surprise everybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's kind of, it's almost like when you go to a NASCAR event and you're waiting for a crash.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the air show, you kind of want to be jolted a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
You want your heart to jump.
Taken by surprise. But yeah, it was really cool. Some of the static displays were really neat. My personal favorite that I took a couple pictures of is my favorite military aircraft, the KC-10, which is
KC-10.
Yeah, it's a tri-jet. So you ever seen like those jets that have 3 engines? So it has like 2 jets on the wings, and then on the tail it has another jet engine.
Okay.
Very cool. KC-10 extender. It's a tanker, and I think they were built in the 80s and 90s, but they're getting retired in 2024, so it was nice to see one.
Interesting. I'm actually now currently the owner of a jet engine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I purchased a jet ski since last episode.
Well, be careful. It's Bombardier, so it's a Sea-Doo.
You're right, it's a Sea-Doo. That's a good call. Good call. It's the Canadian jet ski.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't taken it out on the water yet, so I'm still working on all of the bits and pieces to being a jet ski owner.
Yeah,
it's a big advancement in our world now. I'm gonna be able to take it out on the Sound, ride around when it's nice weather.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, and then you said maybe the year was 91.
91. Yeah.
Yeah,
same year as me.
Yeah, I like it. It looks very 90s and like the
purple,
design. Yeah.
Yeah, classic look to it.
Yeah, no, I think it looks great. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I guess closing thoughts on the air show before we move on. I think totally worth going to.
Mm-hmm.
If you just even have a marginal interest in aviation, right? Especially because it's a free show.
Oh yeah.
The only downside I would say there is because it's on a military base, right? Mm-hmm. It's on a secured site. Getting there, especially if you're not a DoD ID card holder, you pretty much have to take these Pierce Transit Express shuttles or like Park and DuPont and walk.
Oh, really?
And you might not even be able to walk on base. I think you might have to. You're stuck just taking shuttles if you don't have a military ID card.
So, how many of the people there do you think? Like, do you think it was more than half of them?
I would say more than half, easily. And like, I showed up at 9. The buses start running at 9, and I probably had to wait 40 minutes to get on a bus.
Oh wow!
And then after the show, I mean, there were people who easily waited an hour for the bus to pick them up, and I think Pierce Transit did a pretty good job. You know, the buses kept coming, and it seemed like they were cycling continuously. I just don't think anyone could have predicted how big the crowd was going to be, especially because it's been 7 years. So I think Pierce Transit and the base did a pretty good job of planning for it. It's just, who would have guessed this many people would have showed up?
Yeah, well, and
especially both days.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you said it was a 2-day event.
It was a 2-day event.
You think it was just as popular both days?
I think so, because I went on Sunday. I knew it was very crowded on Saturday. I went on Sunday thinking like, oh, you know, maybe most people got it out of their system on Saturday, and people are doing other things on their Sunday. Boy, was I wrong.
Everyone came back from Saturday because it was.
I think good. A lot of people did. I think a lot, especially because it's a free show.
Oh yeah.
But
how long was the show? Like 2-3 hours?
So it opened at 9 and it closed at like 5-6 o'clock. The flight demonstrations were between 11 and 4.
Okay, wow, that's a substantial show.
It was.
That's your whole day.
Yeah, that's why we didn't have one of these yesterday. Yeah, I was pooped after it.
Oh yeah,
well, we
had big events this week.
Yeah, the thing is too, like, I think everybody wants to see the Thunderbirds, right? That's the marquee event, and totally worth going in there for. The thing is, like, if you want to see the Thunderbirds, it's so crowded, you basically have to go there, like, on time, if you will. It's not like when you go to, like, a concert at a small venue and you're like, I don't really care for the opener, so you show up a little late on purpose. No, you gotta like, go the earlier the better, because you don't want to be, like, stuck waiting in line, because
the good stuff's up front.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, like, not only do you have to wait in line to get on the bus, but you have to wait in line to get on the base, right? It's kind of like going through airport security.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Do they check your boots at the entrance?
No, actually, they're not worried about shoe bombers, thankfully. They don't take that seriously either. I don't want to take my shoes off going onto the base.
Well, I know somebody who was working on the base, and whatever their job was, they had to have steel-toe boots, and they didn't have them, and they got checked by the gate officer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, with like a big stomp on their foot.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that's never a nice way to check.
No.
But yeah, other than that, your brother was in town?
Yeah, so my brother, he was supposed to come in town on Friday,
mm-hmm.
and then we were going to go to the Fully Loaded Festival on Saturday,
mm-hmm.
but his flight got delayed and then canceled, and he ended up flying in last night. It got delayed like 2.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was in New York for a couple days instead. And I went to the Fully Loaded Festival instead with the girl I've been seeing,
mm-hmm.
and it was great. It was I haven't been to the Gorge in like probably 7-8 years.
Yeah.
It's about as good of a venue as exists in, I'll say, the world.
Really? The world?
Yeah, well, because like people talk about like Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And Red Rocks like versus the Gorge
mm-hmm.
is like a pretty.
It's a significant debate.
Yeah, exactly. As to which one's the better like natural amphitheater.
Yeah.
With the better background or whatever. And I haven't been to Red Rocks, but I've just heard people, say that those are the two best that we have to offer in our country.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many there are. Probably in Greece they have a pretty good one.
Yeah, I need to go to the Gorge. I haven't been to the Gorge yet.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of drive for one day.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably 3 hours there and 3 hours back, depending on the traffic at the very end can be bad. Because just one lane at the very end. If you get stuck in or out, but it was like 4 hours of comedy.
Yeah.
From like 7 to 11:30.
Okay.
And I saw like 9 or 10 acts that I would love to see solo. So to see them all in a row was pretty cool.
Okay.
It was kind of crazy to go to a comedy event where there's 50,000 people there.
I don't think I've ever been to a comedy festival, but I've always wanted to go. Would you?
They're pretty rare.
Yeah.
There's not that many of them. And I remember Bert saying it was the first comedy event that's ever been at the Gorge.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So hopefully he's saying hopefully they're going to do it again next year and make it a 2-day event.
That would be nice.
It was so successful, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
because I'd love to go to something like that.
I saw Stavros. I saw Andrew Santino. I saw Mark Norman.
Nice.
I saw Big J.
Yeah.
Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
I saw Bruce was there.
Yeah.
Bruce he had one of my favorite lines. He comes out because there was like kind of the daytime show and then the nighttime show.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce closed out the daytime, and he was like, "Man, it's hot out here. It's so hot. I seen a glass of water drinking a glass of water. And I seen the sun was taking a bath. It's so hot out." I like those lines.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, well, that sounds fun. It's
yeah. Well, and then Bert said he does this story of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing it for years. He closes every set with it.
Yep.
And yeah, so that was like my cue to leave. Because
yeah,
I'm like,
to beat the
a
rush.
15-minute story. I'll beat the rush. It'll save me like an hour. And I've heard the story in other contexts before.
Yeah.
But he was kind of teasing that there might be like a special guest.
Oh.
And I was thinking like maybe there's a chance because Bill Burr was at the Emerald Queen Casino that same day.
Yeah, I saw him on the marquee.
Yeah, and just for one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, he and Bert are like really good friends. And Bill Burr's a helicopter pilot.
Oh.
And so he could potentially fly into the Gorge and close out the festival, and that'd be like really epic.
That'd be insane.
But it wasn't gonna
No.
That would have been crazy.
No.
It would have been like the coolest thing. So it was the kind of thing where I couldn't leave until it was done.
Yeah.
But it was like the foot was out the gate when I was ready.
Right. Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, there's always that trade-off. It's like, do I stay to the very end of the event and, maybe, not miss anything? Or do I potentially miss something, but I save like an hour or two, like getting back,
Yeah.
At least at big events,
that's it's like, well, if I had missed Bill Burr flying in on a helicopter, I would have been upset.
Yeah,
that I
for
left
sure.
5 minutes too early.
For sure. Yeah, same here. I would have beaten the shit out of myself. Well, not literally, of course, in a figurative sense.
But maybe even a little bit.
Maybe just a little like stupid, just hitting your own head.
Bouncing exactly. The kind
just
of
like
headbanging you do in frustration.
Yeah. But I had a thought today. If I were king of Tacoma, what would I decree? What rule would I make? And today that rule was, if you have a driver's license, you don't get to put student driver stickers on your car.
Oh.
You're not
Is a student driver only when you're in like driver's ed?
I would say so. If you have a license, you're kind of done studenting. Like
what about when you get like a DUI or you have to go to like traffic school again? Do you get to put the sticker back up?
You know what? I think it should go something like, "I made an oopsie. Please be patient." I don't think you get student driver again.
I do know people who they put that sticker up and they're like, "Oh, people drive more cautiously around me."
Yeah, but I've also seen it sort of used as an excuse for bad driving behavior.
Ooh,
like today, I was right next to somebody who parked very poorly. I would rate this parking job a 2 out of 10.
Oof. Was it on the line?
On the line, not quite across.
Okay, because a 1 would be across the line.
Across the line, yeah. Easily.
Once you're over the line, that's a 1.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, by definition, it's in the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a student driver sticker, and I was like, I look inside the car. I peek inside of it. It doesn't look like a student driver car.
We used to have, when I lived in Redmond, we had a lot of very mature student drivers because there were a lot of immigrants, and then their wives or spouses would be learning to drive for the first time.
Okay.
And so I saw those on all manner of vehicles and all sorts of people driving them. And I just trusted it because I knew that Microsoft had some program where they teach the spouses how to drive.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's good.
A lot more student drivers out there than you'd think.
Yeah,
but, I agree. The excuse, you're going too far.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's almost like the, one of my big pet peeves, the service dog, the fake service dog.
Oh. They ruined it for people who have real service dogs at a lot of places.
Exactly.
Especially airlines. The amount of paperwork and hoops you got to jump through to get a service animal on an airline these days.
Oh, yeah.
Because some piece of garbage brought a peacock on a plane and was like, "This is my service animal." And
or just even an untrained dog.
Yeah. Even I'm pretty sure I saw that at the comedy club last week.
Yes, I did. Me too.
Yeah, we're thinking of the exact same person.
Wait, but I don't think you were at the show that I was at. But I imagine it was the same person.
It may have been,
because I was at 6th and Proctor on Friday, and in the front row there was this couple brought their dog, and it was not. I was like, this is going to be trouble. And it wasn't that much trouble, although it did bark one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, can't we kick him out like we would a heckler? But I guess you can't.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if they're concerned over like a possible ADA lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
like if it has the vest, you can't do anything.
So like when the police women came to the club, do you remember that? One of them,
they had a service dog. That's right. I forgot about
service dog quotation marks.
Yeah, it was an untrained pit bull.
Yeah, which it just wore the vest to get in through the door, and then immediately the vest came off, and everyone's like petting it, and it's just doing whatever. Like it's like they ruined it for everyone else.
Yeah. Well, and I really also just feel bad for people who have like severe allergies. Like having a dog allergy is like very common.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden now you're suffering from your allergy.
Yeah. No, that is I could see that being very annoying too.
Mm-hmm. But I'm just being empathetic. I don't actually have my own problems with it, other than I don't like it when people don't train their dogs well.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big pet peeve of mine too. But yeah, that's a
real pet peeve.
That's my yeah. Well, can you have a fake pet peeve?
Or I mean, like that's a real pet peeve.
Ah, sort of like when you said the gorge is gorgeous.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it. But yeah, that's my decree. If you got a driver's license, you don't get student driver
What if you
stickers.
have the vertical driver's license?
Ooh. Just be like, this driver cannot legally consume alcohol sticker.
I like that. That's pretty good.
But yeah, so I was, speaking of driving, did you know that it's not explicitly illegal to wear earplugs while you're driving in Washington?
Really?
You can't wear headphones or headsets, but earplugs are not prohibited.
So, like, if it's too loud out there in the world, you can plug it in?
Yeah.
Huh.
And so this...
as long as you're not pumping extra noise into your own ears, you can deaden out whatever you want.
Yeah, which I wouldn't recommend it, but this sort of came up because somebody who... the air conditioning in their car is broken, so they drive with the windows down. And when you're driving like pretty fast with the windows down
it can be loud.
for extended periods of time, you can get hearing damage from that.
Really?
It's got to be a long period of time, and you got to be driving pretty fast, but you can get hearing damage from it.
Interesting.
Because I think it's 85 decibels or more. It's like 80 or 85 decibels or more over an extended period of time can cause hearing loss.
So then they allow you to do that, so then they must allow you to be safe in that situation?
You're allowed to do it because I don't think anybody ever thought someone would be stupid enough to wear earplugs while they're driving. Because here's the thing. Like, the way I see it is you are basically canceling out one of your senses, one that I would say is pretty important for driving, being able to hear. And to protect your long-term hearing. However, if you get in an accident, maybe because you couldn't hear something.
Yeah, there's a horn or a screech or a...
Yeah, you probably don't care as much about your long-term hearing anymore. Right? It's just one of those trade-offs where I was like, I can't believe someone would do this.
Yeah, although it does make me think about, I remember one time I went to the dentist, and he had earplugs in. And he said that they were specifically designed to only cancel out the high frequencies of the drill.
Motorcyclists, I think, wear earplugs that cancel out the wind noise. But, like, they can still hear, like, sirens and horns and stuff like that.
There we go. So maybe that's what they need.
Yeah.
These windowless drivers.
Yeah. Maybe he's just going to the air show and he didn't want to, like, have to form them and put... Yeah. So he just kept them in while he was driving.
I like that idea, too.
But interesting thing that came out of that is deaf drivers have pretty much the same driving record, like statistically, as drivers that can hear.
They have the same type of driving record, which is
they're
interesting. Even like on your insurance, like men and women have different.
Yeah, so deaf people are just as likely to get in accidents as people who can hear just fine.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now
that's different than somebody who has hearing but has chosen to mute themselves.
Yes, because deaf people are very much aware of not having that one sense and
used to it
and practice, being more cautious in regards to, like, hey, maybe I should look around a bit more. Also, I'm not sure how true this is, but I've heard people, especially people with total deafness, typically have a wider peripheral vision.
Whoa, really?
Yeah,
wider peripheral?
Yeah, because their body's just trying to, like,
compensate
for, like, the lack of one sense. So they it expands another. I'm not sure how true that is. That's just like some pop science thing I heard.
I heard the same thing about Asian people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, more peripheral but less up and down.
Interesting.
It was disproven.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a myth.
Okay.
But you can imagine it being true.
I could. I mean, I can imagine a lot of things being true.
That's true.
I can imagine anything being true, really.
Well, you have quite the imagination then.
Yeah. I was also at a car show this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, it was attached to the air show. So you got the car show, too.
Oh, I didn't realize they were... Okay. I thought they were distinct things for some reason.
No, you got to go to that, too. And So I'm at the car show, and one thing that sort of caught my eye was this Scion FRS.
Okay.
It's pretty clean looking. However, it has, you know what fake taxi is?
No.
So fake taxi is, it's a series of pornography that takes place in
a fake taxi.
Correct. Now,
interesting.
For our viewers,
it's like an old school one, right?
Yeah, it's older, okay. I believe. But for some reason, I guess, and this isn't the first time I've seen fake taxi stickers on like some car guy's car.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so it's a yellow FRS. It's got fake taxi stickers on it, and I can imagine when it was submitted to the car show, they were like, you know, some colonel or something's like, son, that's a really clean FRS you got there, but we're trying to keep this event PG, so we're going to need you to do something about it. So he had Post-it notes on his car that just covered the fake part, so it just said taxi.
So it said taxi?
But
wow. That's such a small thing.
But I think he won an award too for his car. Yeah, it was pretty clean. But
that's funny. That fake taxi thing kind of reminds me. Willie was telling me the other day about this new porn he saw, where it's a guy who has a Tesla and he takes it out on the freeway and puts it into like autopilot, and then has sex in his car while it's on autopilot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole new genre of pornography.
But for the
very akin to the fake taxi.
For the benefit of our viewers, if you think that fake taxi might be a porn parody of the
Crazy Taxi,
of not Crazy Taxi, but of Cash Cab with your host
Bailey.
Ben Bailey. I regret to inform you there is no trivia portion in Fake Taxi. I was actually quite disappointed when I was researching it for this episode.
That would be cool if it was.
That would be. Have I ever told you about the weird Ben Bailey conspiracy theory?
No.
So, there's a Ben Bailey conspiracy theory that basically people took images of Ben Bailey and Derek Chauvin. You remember Derek Chauvin?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, look at how similar they are. Clearly, Ben Bailey is a crisis actor, and the whole thing was staged.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
that is a crazy theory.
It's very funny to me because there's people out there that are like, you know, maybe Derek Chauvin should not have gotten a murder conviction, right? I generally disagree with those people. But there's another group of people that are like, oh my God, Derek Chauvin's totally innocent. They staged the whole thing and used him as a fall guy.
Yeah, that's another level.
But it's like nobody ever talks about who's the actor allegedly playing George Floyd.
Yes.
I think it's because a lot of people who follow crisis actor conspiracies don't know any black actors, or at least they know one, and they point at every like black lead, and they're like, yeah, that's Michael B. Jordan. And it's like, that's not Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Or, well, even just like, why would you use a famous actor?
Yeah.
Use like some unknown, struggling actor. Off Broadway.
Ben Bailey, of all people. Just like, it's so funny to think, like...
He's really funny, Ben Bailey.
Yeah, he is. I think he's great, but it's so funny to, like, listen to that conspiracy theory where it's like, well, you know, They had him start this whole thing. It's like Ben Bailey.
Cash Cab wasn't doing good anymore. The residual checks had dried up.
Ben Bailey was the catalyst for a summer of general unrest.
Yeah. Oh, that actually this is less of a local story, but I heard they just caught a serial killer on Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'd been a serial killer for a long time. And they caught him with from DNA evidence from a pizza box. He hadn't eaten the crust.
Oh.
And they were able to gather the DNA evidence from the crust of the pizza.
That reminds me of a story when I was in college. Somebody clogged a toilet by trying to flush pizza crust down it.
Ooh.
And they're trying to figure out who's this guy that, like, it caused the bathroom to flood. And the thing is, like, I went to a military school, so this barracks. There's not a lot of bathrooms in these barracks. This is this is a crucial piece of infrastructure that's been sabotaged.
Yeah.
And so they I guess they're looking, and finally they're like, what if we went through the trash?
Ooh.
They find one Domino's box, and on the name, Robert.
Ooh.
And from that day, the legend of Pizza Bob was born.
Oh, because all it said was Robert, and that wasn't enough to find out who it was?
I think eventually they narrowed it down, but it was like, it was just like, who is Pizza Bob?
Whoa, he is in big trouble.
Pizza Bob, oh yeah, huge trouble.
That's funny. That's a great story.
Yeah. But anyways, I saw that our favorite local villain has been caught. The tuberculosis woman.
Oh, really?
She's been
good
caught.
News.
She's on house.
Death row?
No, not quite. She's getting there. She's on house arrest.
Okay.
And she's supposed to take medication. And under court order, she's not allowed to have any visitors except for members of Tacoma Pierce County Health Department, law enforcement, or court-appointed visitors.
Huh.
And when I heard that, I was like thinking about, you know how like they have like actors go visit people in like children's hospitals, like Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp shows up dressed as Jack Sparrow.
That'd be great. Or even like I go up and be like, "Hey, court, will you appoint me as one of the people?"
Yeah,
visit?
Yeah. I wonder what the application process is.
Well, it's probably pretty limited. Like, not a lot of people jumping at visiting a lady with TB.
I think it's so funny.
Well, she's a bit of a local celebrity now.
Well, I think it's so funny that they caught her because she got on a local bus going to the casino. They caught her on the surveillance footage.
They got her going to the casino.
On the bus. That's even worse.
Yeah. I didn't know the buses had that good of a camera.
Yeah, I guess, especially like when you get on board, I think they can see your face.
Okay.
But the thing is, you know, I'm out here trying to defend bus people. I think bus people get a bad rep. And then I hear one of them's going to the casino with tuberculosis. She was on the run since January 2022. That's when she got her diagnosis.
And if she's going to the casino on the bus, you know that she's out and about.
This was March 2023. They were like, we finally got her.
It gives me hope that the police state surveillance isn't as advanced as we think it is.
No, not even close. Not even close, dude. She's suffering from tuberculosis.
Yeah, I'm not worried about TikTok stealing my face and them being able to find me with the satellites yet.
I mean, like,
I think they're close, but not close enough.
Not even. The technology's there. It
just hasn't
Who
applied.
cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares? If we can't even get people with tuberculosis after like a year and a half, I mean,
what are we doing?
Those are some of the most important people to find.
Agreed. Well, that's good news. I'm glad we finally settled that one. It's been long in our register.
I'm just worried we're losing our villain. Like, who's going to be our next villain?
Yeah, who's the next?
We lost.
Next
Ed Troyer's done.
Yeah, that's
TB lady's gone. I mean, who's going to be the next villain? If you think you have what it takes to be Tacoma's next villain, please step up.
Yeah, well, there were those guys who sabotaged the power stations. I wonder if they'll be back.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they caught them because
they're under wraps.
Actually, that's what they should have done with tuberculosis woman. You know how they caught them? They saw that their cell phones were like active near the power, the substation at the time of the attack, because they used a search warrant for the cell phone company records. And it's all about caring. Somebody knocks the power out, that's a big problem. Somebody got tuberculosis, it's
very mild. They probably had one person on the case.
Yeah.
Part-time.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got any upcoming stuff this week?
Oh, maybe not this week, but Brew 5-3, August 12th, Saturday this year. It's the 10th anniversary, and it's going to be taking place at the Chambers Bay Meadows.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah.
Did you go last year?
I did, but it was at the Pierce Transit Square.
Okay.
Also a good spot. Very easy to get to if you live in Tacoma.
Yeah. Well, I remember just barely not being able to go to it last year.
Yeah. If you'd be interested in going, we can.
I might potentially. I know I have work on Saturday typically, but if it's a day type event, then
I think it is. Yeah, just don't try
too
many beers.
Too many beers.
Yeah.
Before work.
So normally with your the price of admission, you get a tasting glass and you get tickets
to
taste
it around.
Yeah,
you
go
like
taste
to
it
taste.
around. I think there's already like 25 or 30 breweries on the list.
Oh,
so.
Nice. Well, maybe. I mean, I'm sure we've tried quite a few here on the cast, and actually, I was riding right behind a E4 fire truck today.
Nice, yeah, engine 4, sweet.
Yeah, I was like, "Where's the E9 at?"
Did it have the 4-leaf clover on it?
I'm not sure.
I think it's on the
front. I don't think
front.
I was looking for. Yeah, I was behind it.
Yeah, okay.
So I saw the E4.
Yeah, it's got a big 4-leaf clover on it.
And then, of course, Narrows, I'm sure will be represented.
Yeah, 7 Seas, I know, is on the list.
Yeah, so.
I need to go to Sig Brewing. It's on, you know where the big Goodwill is? On Yakima Avenue, I think.
Yeah, I know that one.
I think it's near there.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't been there either.
But, yeah, Chambers Bay.
That'll be a good event.
August 12th, the Brew 5-3 10th anniversary. It should be a good one. And then the next day, you've heard us talk about it.
Oh, it's
Smash Mouth.
Oh, the Smash Mouth at Chambers Bay.
13th of August.
There we go.
And Spin Doctors. I'm not so familiar with.
I like the Spin Doctors.
Okay,
I couldn't name the song right off the bat, but I know the lyrics.
I love how in the promotional stuff for the Smash Mouth, it's like, "Here All Star" and "I'm a Believer" featured in Shrek.
That's the same thing with that Hallelujah song featured in Shrek. Really does a lot for those songs.
Yeah,
but I got an event even more close at hand.
Ooh, okay,
we can probably talk about those a little bit as they get closer. But tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm inviting everybody I can to go to Wild Waves. So it's been a long time since most people have been to Wild Waves. What a perfect occasion, a Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see what's
going on.
So, yeah, we're going to go to Wild Waves tomorrow, and anybody who wants to can come and have a good time on the water slides. It's been so long since I've been, but I drive by it so much that it's like, it just beckons me.
Yeah, I might tag along if I'm not looking at homes.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you're looking at homes?
I've been looking at homes. It's almost like having a second job, like a part-time job.
Just looking for a place.
Just looking at places, yeah.
It's kind of a fun job, though, I imagine.
I actually enjoy it quite a bit.
Have you narrowed down your search at all?
I put offers in on 2 homes, got beaten out both times. One was all cash, an all cash offer.
Whoa, you got beat out by all cash?
All cash, dude.
Straight cash, homie?
Straight cash.
Damn. Well,
crazy.
It's a tough market out there.
It is a tough market. Tacoma's hot. I think that's a good sign, though. We're hot.
Yeah, it's going to be,
we're an up-and-comer, man.
Yeah, expanding quickly.
Yeah, not that we can really build any more houses here. It's just fighting for the houses that already exist.
Yeah, or expanding up in some areas.
Yeah. There's a few places building fourplexes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well that's the big thing is that mixed use.
Yeah, or the ADU.
Yes, exactly. That's what we almost got one of those in the backyard, but not a full dwelling unit.
Yeah. But
so I think that's all I got for this next week, and
yeah.
You got anything else?
One more thing on the homes.
Oh, yeah.
If you suck at carpentry or wiring or any other trade, do not buy one of these beautiful old craftsman homes and fuck it up with your stupidity and lack of talent.
Are you seeing that a lot?
I'm seeing it a few places, yeah.
Poor carpentry ruining an old, beautiful house.
Yep.
Well, people like to make modifications, but yeah, you don't want to
be tasteful.
Ruin the floor.
Be tasteful.
Exactly. Leave the old wood.
And don't commit code violations. Look that shit up. They wrote that shit down for you.
You're doing your own code inspection. I guess that's probably cheaper than paying for it.
Well, I'll pay for it too, but like there's some
There's
stuff
some
it's just
stuff
like
you can
obviously like you can't do that.
Like what? What have you seen?
So my favorite was somebody built their own banisters for some steps that went out into the backyard, and I think they ran out of wood because like I think it's like 4 inches is like the maximum space between banister, like the rungs, so a kid doesn't get their head stuck in it, right?
Okay.
At first, it was within code, and then, like, the further you go along, they get more and more spaced out until I could shove my whole fucking head through these banister rungs. Funny. And I'm like, what is
like,
this?
Oh, it's like when you're like writing a letter,
yeah,
you know, and like you do the stuff in the middle, and you get all the way to the edge. You're like, oh no, and you got to squish your letters down.
Yeah, exactly.
It always happens.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, just get a professional or don't do it at all.
Yeah. Well, I was raised in a house where we never hired professionals for anything, so I got mixed emotions about that. But at least look it up. At least watch enough New Yankee Workshop that you know what's going on.
Or if you don't know what you're doing,
This Old House.
And yeah, This Old House is
just
great.
watch 100 episodes of This Old House before you start.
Or if you're not sure about the end result, you keep that shit to yourself. You die in that house, okay?
Don't try to sell it off.
Don't try to sell.
Else.
No one wants to see that shit. It's embarrassing.
I like that. That's a good message to end on, perhaps.
Yep, I think so.
All right, so we'll see y'all next week, and until then, live life like the mountains out.
Yep,
It probably should be.